wanted to explain a few things about the funeral, and I'm outside on our front stoop because my family is still quiet and sleeping, and I don't want to be disruptive. And I find it to be quite a red flag when adults are of the opinion that children are incapable and incompetent and cannot behave well unless they're abused, which is really insulting to a child. Frankly, you take any average or slightly below average IQ 8-year-old on the planet who does not eat a processed diet and lives in a predictable, stable environment, and their capacity to learn and execute their learning is vastly superior to almost every adult on the planet. Children are amazing. Now, when I took my kids to the funeral, I talked to them about what the person who died meant to me. I treated them like my family and my equals, and talked about how when I was 13, this man who's at least 50 years older than me, from Britain, a chemist, and we would be in the entry to the church regularly in the early mornings because I didn't like Sunday school. I don't know if he must not have liked Sunday school. And we were just kind of hanging around with some extra time. And he would just tell me about life as a chemist. And he had the biggest ears I've ever seen in a human being, which I was fascinated by. And his life story was so interesting. And I told this to my children, and they were engaged and intrigued. And when we went to the funeral, and the children were sitting in the pew, if you look down that aisle, or pew, here's what you would probably have seen. I don't know because I wasn't looking at them, but probably the baby would be clinging to me. The youngest son would probably have one or two Lego guys that were having a battle in his lap. My next son up would be twiddling his thumbs and rocking back and forth and moving around, quiet but always moving. The naturalist he probably had a little lizard in his pocket that he was dangling from his finger, putting on his earlobe, dangling from his thing. My oldest daughter was probably looking around, this is dumb, the church is dumb, everybody's dumb, these people are dumb, being here is dumb, because that's how she could be. And my oldest son was probably crying because that's what he did. He didn't need to know the person. He was ready to cry and be part of it. So they weren't robots. And I gave them a 5-minute warning when it was time to go because I believe you need to allow children to transition. Like, we're going to be completing this task, and now we'll be moving into the next task. Had one of my children said to me, Mom, can we please stay 10 more minutes? I would have said, yes, that's fine, no problem. Or, Mom, I need to do X, Y, and Z before we go. Is that fine? Sure, no problem. So when I said 5 more minutes, that was their opportunity to tell me, now's not a good time for me. But they didn't, because they were fine with that. And when I said it's time to go, why would you ever give your children an instruction and not expect them to do it? Do you really want to train them to not obey you till you're angry? Why would you train your children to be people you don't like and who are a pain to be around? When I say something, I mean it. I'm open to conversation about it if the child is in that capacity, but we're all in it together. And when we were driving home, we had a wonderful time laughing and talking about the day. So holster your pistols when you assume that well-behaved, capable children are abused, because actually, in many instances, they're respected.